Hi, welcome to the fifth section of the course. In the last section, we saw Ember Router. Controllers in Ember.js are similar to components. They can encapsulate code, handle actions, and have properties. In addition, controllers can transition to different parts of the application and retrieve information from other controllers. In the near future, controllers will be completely replaced by components. However, until this happens, it's good to have some basic understanding on how controllers work. This section helps us with that. In this section, we will learn how to store application properties and deal with handling actions in controllers. We will work with transitions and finally manage dependencies between controllers. Here is the first video of this section. In this video, we see how to store our properties, update the application controller, and also how to update template to display the properties. One advantage of a controller is storing properties. Controllers have properties that are stored in the application, which is unlike the model where properties are saved to the server. In this video, we'll take a look at a few different types of properties and how they can be displayed in a template. In a new application, run this command. In this application, we'll be using the application controller to store all our properties. Let's go to our application directory now. Open the application.js file in the controllers folder. Update the application controller to add a new action and a few properties. This controller has two properties. The first property contains a string. The second has a Boolean value of true attached to it. The enter action displays a few alert boxes. Let's take a closer look at the enter action. When accessing properties in Ember, always use this get and this set. This guarantees that the property will be read or set correctly in Ember. In addition, we can use this get properties. This allows us to get multiple properties at once. It returns an object of those properties and their values. Another useful method is the toggle property. This will take a Boolean value and toggle it. In other words, a value of false will become true and vice versa. Be aware that you don't have to declare each property in the controller definition. Properties can be retrieved directly from the template and be manipulated. In the code example, the prop1 property is received from the template. It was never defined in the controller. If needed, you can set default property values. Next, we will open the application.hbs file in the templates folder. Update the template for the application. Display the properties. As you can see here, the prop1 property is bound to the bracket input and input helper. By default, bracket input tags are one way. What this means is the prop1 property is retrieved from the controller when the template is rendered. It's copied over, and the changes to the property are not reflected back in the controller. On the other hand, input helpers are bound two-way. Any changes to the value in the input helper will be reflected in the controller. Start the Ember server and update the values in the one-way input. You can see that even though the bracket input tag value is set to prop1, it's not changing the prop1 property elsewhere in the template. This is because the value is set to work only one way. The only way to change the value of prop1 in the controller is to send it as an action back to the controller from the template. This is the basis behind data down, actions up. Data is copied down to the template from the controller or component. Any changes to it are then sent back in an action to the parent component or controller. Keep this concept in mind as it's becoming more and more popular in Ember. Next, we update the values in the two-way input helper box. The two-way input helper updates all the values in the template because it's linked back to the controller. Any changes to the property in the template are reflected back in the controller as shown here because it's two-way bound. Press the value of prop1 button. When the button is clicked, an action is triggered. It displays three alert boxes. Each alert box will display the prop1 property. It will then toggle the third Boolean property from true to false. Computed properties or observers can be added to controllers as well. To learn more about these, check out previous videos in the section, the Ember.object model. Controllers can use properties to show information to a user. Unlike models, they are not persisted to a server. However, they are persisted in the application state. When working with templates, they can be one-way or two-way bound. Nice! So now we know how to store application properties.